Welcome back, quick reader. So how is your reading? It is what? It is super quick. And isn't it getting there? You're starting to see improvement in your focus and your speed. And even if you're not quite there, really what we want to do is just believe you can. Because if you believe you can or believe you can, either way you're right. Because it's mind over what? It's mind over matter. It's not you'll believe it when you see it. You'll start seeing it as you start believing in it. And that's why I'm giving you these techniques to get you immediate results early on. So that way you're like, oh wow, I'm starting to grow here. What else is possible? So I'm going to show you in this session another technique that's going to boost your reading speed another 25%. Isn't that exciting? Across the board, we see about 25% growth. But just as a quick review, where we are right now is we've used our visual pacer, a finger, a highlighter, a pencil when you're reading, maybe a mouse on a computer. We'll talk about that in a future session. But we use it to be able to maintain our focus because it overcomes the three obstacles to effective reading: lack of education, lack of focus, and what? Regression and backskipping. Because it gives you the education, it gives you better focus, and also you're not likely to go back and reread words if you're using your finger because it's not unconscious anymore. We're taking this, we're going through an unlearning process. You're unlearning bad habits that we learned when we were a child. So this is very exciting. So what we're gonna do is I want you to grab your book right now. Remember, this is interactive, so you need to do this. Just listening to my words and listening is not gonna get you the result. You need to get an experience of it. Because there's a Chinese proverb that goes, what I hear, I forget. What I see, I remember. What I do, I understand. If you just hear my words, you're gonna forget them. But by doing it, you're gonna understand it. So you don't understand it unless you could do it. So I want you to grab your fiction book right now. And what I'm gonna teach you is this technique. I call it indentation. It could shave up to 25% or more on your reading time. I mean, isn't that incredible? We're saving you so much time. So think about what you're gonna do with all this extra time. Now, the indentation technique is this, is you have this thing called peripheral vision that when you're looking forward, you could see something to the left and to the right. Now, when we're going into quick reading, when slow readers, very slow readers, and think about children when they're first starting out, they tend to see the letters of a word, right? They see the individual letters. Normal readers, they see word for word for word. But trained readers, quick readers, tend to see groups of words together. So it's less taxing. Because poor readers who are just looking at letters, starting out, beginner readers, they tend to start, stop at all the different letters. So if you see a word like school or see a word like carpet, they have to look at all the letters, sound it out, and create the word. Or normal readers, if you will, read word for word for word. But the challenge going word for word is it takes time. But the quicker readers, they exercise what they call their peripheral vision, and they can look at a word and see the word to the left and to the word to the right. So they see groups of words. So instead of going through and making 20 different stops or 10 different stops for 10 different words, they actually just make 3 stops. And all of a sudden your eyes aren't as taxed, you have more energy, you're not frustrated as much. So you have this thing called peripheral vision, as opposed to your foveal vision, which is your focus vision. So when it comes to your peripheral vision, we're gonna go deeper in future sessions with you, but right now, let's keep it very fundamental basic. What I mean by utilizing your peripheral vision is this. So far, when you're reading with a visual pacer, you're going margin to margin, literally all the way to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. But understanding the principle of utilizing your peripheral vision, do you have to go all the way to the right to see that last word? The truth is you don't. You can actually indent an inch on both sides and still get the full sight of the words. So instead of using your finger going all the way to the left, all the way to the right, all the way to the left, all the way to the right, what I want you to do is actually go to the right, but don't go all the way to the end. Stop at about an inch to the end because your peripheral vision will still pick up those remaining words. And then when you come back to the left, don't go all the way back to the left margin, go indent about an inch inside, and you'll still pick up those beginning words. So what you're doing fundamentally is you're moving your finger left to right, left to right, left to right, but the margins are actually moved in closer together. So it takes less what? It takes less energy and it takes less what? Time. So you begin to save more time because you're not covering about 25% of that real estate on that page. So here's what we're gonna do right now. I want you to grab your practice book and we're gonna practice using our finger, but instead of going all the way to the end of the margins, to the left and to the right, I want you to indent about 1 inch or about 2.5 centimeters from the indent from the left and back from the right. And that's where your practice margins become now. Because again, having this soft focus, you could see what's on the left and what's to the right, so you don't have to take the time of going all the way to the ends. So we're going to practice now for 3 minutes. You're not going to get it perfect, but just enjoy it. Remember, practicing is fun. Remember the power of play when we're talking about children. Children learn so quickly, and then they stop playing. And here's the thing, it's not that you stop playing because you grow older, but maybe we grow older because we stop playing. So bring some fun and joy into this. Fall in love with your reading again, and just like get curious. Like, oh, this is kind of interesting. This is kind of fun, right? And remember the prime directive. Your eyes follow your fingers. But remember, you're going indenting about an inch or 2.5 centimeters on both sides. Practice this now for 3 minutes. Begin now. Okay, welcome back, quick readers. How did that feel for you? How did it feel? Do you feel like you're going through the information a little bit quicker? Well, let's test it, because ultimately it comes down to you are the expert. You are the expert on you. So let's test it within yourself. We're going to give you now 2 minutes, and we're going to do our 2-minute base rate test that we do almost every single day. We're going to give you a 2-minute countdown, and I want you to pick up where you left off. Make sure you have a mark in the margins. Your book is getting a little bit marked up, but that's a good thing because it's being used. It's not sitting on the shelf and just looking good for yourself, right? You put a mark in the margin where you left off. We're going to time you for 2 minutes exactly. Countdown timer will go on at the end of 2 minutes, but this time the only difference is you're reading within the indentation. Go 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters approximately on the left and the right, and practice using your finger. And remember, comprehension is starting to, you can start focusing a little bit more on comprehension, but really get used to following your finger while you read. And then we'll cover comprehension over the next few days. Ready? Begin. Okay, and stop. How did we do? Let's count the number of lines together if you haven't done it already. Count the number of lines, divide it by what? 2, because we read for 2 minutes, so now you know your lines per minute, and then multiply by the average number of words that you have for this reading material per line. And you have a new number. And it looks like this number is growing, doesn't it? So as your homework, what I want you to do is 10 minutes of reading today. 10 minutes, commit to 10 minutes of reading this way, using your finger, but indent it left and right. Do that for 10 minutes, and I'll see you in tomorrow's lesson.